Hi, welcome to this quick tutorial on how to create heat maps in Excel. Heat map is one of the best visual chart which helps in understanding the data at a glance and to draw quick inference from it. Now before we start building our heat map, we would work on our data a bit. The only prerequisite we need to build a heat map is that the data should be in a matrix format. And to make a matrix using pivot tables, we would need a minimum of two fields apart from the values column. One of the field to represent the rows and the other to represent columns. In our data, as you can see, we have just one column which depicts month and year, and the other column shows the number of air passengers who flew in that month. Now first step would be to separate the month and the year in two different columns so that it could be restructured in a matrix format using pivot tables. And for that we would use the text to column function in Excel. Now before we run the text to column function, we have to insert a blank column, select the data in the month column, go to data, click on text to column and delimit using the hyphen. Now that we have both month and year in two separate columns, let me just rename my column headers as months and year. So our data is now ready to be converted or restructured into a matrix. And for that we will be using a pivot table. Now in order to create a pivot table, we'll simply click on insert, select pivot table and click on OK. Now we'll just drag our years under the row field, months under the column field, so that we have our years in representing the rows and our months representing the columns, and the number of passengers in values. Now the same 144 values which we had in one single column in our data chart or data table, we have the same values in a 12 by 12 matrix. Now before creating a heat map, another step I would want to do is to get rid of this grand total for both rows as well as columns, and you can simply do this by just going on design and under grand totals just select off for rows and columns, because I don't need those grand totals, because that is something which is not giving me too much amount of information. So our data is now in a matrix format, and all we need to do now is use conditional formatting to build the heat map. So for that we'll go to home, select our data. Under conditional formatting we have an option of color scales. Now there are a lot of color scales to choose from which are pre-configured in Excel. You can choose any of these 12 color scales, and in case if you're not okay with any of them, you can always click on more rules and customize your own color scale. For this tutorial purpose, I'll stick to green, yellow and red scale. Now our heat map is ready. This clearly shows that there is an obvious trend in growth of air passengers as the year increases. And also it shows that in the month of July and August, we have a clear peak as compared to the other months, and this information was not easy to be depicted from our data table. I hope you liked this video. Do leave your comments in case if you have any queries regarding this tutorial, and also feel free to mention other topics which you want me to cover in future videos, and do support by liking and sharing this video, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.